everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, The Call. For some reason I thought it was The Calling, but I think I'm mixing it up with The Wailing. Anyway, this is a 2020 film. It's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, it's available, and it's been there for a while. Over, like 32,700 people exactly rated it a 7.1, and it's about two people who are connected in two different times by a phone call, and it changes their lives. So I think it's a their lives are changed irrevocably. Crime, horror, mystery. Wasn't gonna watch it, but I realized it's Halloween month. I gotta start watching some more. I do watch scary movies, but let's get this one out there, right? It's been on my list, like I said. It is a Korean-based movie, right? Maybe South Korean, something like that. But I'm mildly intrigued. I saw something else. I couldn't remember the name of it. The same thing. But I had a lot of success last night. If you haven't seen Girl, Luckiest Girl Alive, fantastic, Netflix. So let's stay with Netflix for the weekend and let's see where it gets us. Stick around. I'll be back. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of The Call. I'm at very mixed emotions. Sorry, no check-in tonight. I honestly, for a large majority of the film, I wasn't interested. It didn't hold my interest. Now, I will say this: if you haven't seen this movie, I'm sure originally when it came out, it was subtitled. It is dubbed, so that makes it so much more, enjoyable for me. I don't have to read anything. But I found myself not being interested. Checking my phone, all those regular things, and I don't know why. It has an interesting storyline. This girl goes into a house that she lives in, and phone rings or something like that, right? And she connects with the girl who lived in the house 20 years before, or whatever it was, and they're able to talk back and forth. Now, the girl in the present time, in 2020 this took place, her father had died and stuff like that, but back then her father's alive, you know what I mean? So basically what happens is, because they have this connection, she could essentially impact things in her life by working with this other girl from years before. Now this other girl has seems to be mentally unstable, either her or her mother. There's a lot of weirdness going on, but there's a lot of changes, and so it really becomes a movie about doing something in the past that now impacts your present day, right? You've seen movies like that. Like, I forget what the one they have it was Back to the Future. Back to the Future. Remember when they hold the picture and people start to disappear, right? Same kind of thing here. You do stuff back in the past, it impacts what happens now, and the house changes and everything like that. So it's an interesting concept, and you can see it coming. They become friends over the phone, and then one girl, the present day girl, kind of loses interest in a sense with the past girl, and then she gets mad, and so you can just imagine, it becomes very predictable at that point, at least in my mind, and maybe that's why I became disinterested. But you're waiting to see how it's all going to play out, which is great. And it got to the ending, and it got a little bit more interesting, the final act, if you will. It brought me back in. I was into it. It felt like a drug on, and it really does, because but for me, movies like this create so many holes. At first when I was watching the end of it, and I'm thinking, this is how it's going to end, I'm like, I have to replay this whole thing back in my mind to see how it logistically actually works. That's what was going through my mind in the final couple of scenes. And, you're trying to piece it all together. For me, it got confusing. Maybe not for anybody else, but it really got, and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to sit back and think about it a little bit more. And I'll elaborate a little bit more. I'll do a spoiler piece at the end of this, but I won't do that right now. But so there was that aspect, and I'll let you know that there is a post-credit scene. It's like one credit, and then they show a little bit more, and then that took it downhill for me after that. The first ending was okay. The second one was like meh. I'm not going to replay this in my mind anymore. So there's a cool concept there. It's just when you do these types of movies, you have the danger of creating a lot of holes, you know, that you can't fill, or you can fill, but it doesn't fill it in your mind when you're watching the movie. And it's not a hole that sometimes you want to create, like the spinning thimble at the end of Leonardo DiCaprio's movie. It starts with an I. You know what I mean. I forget, but I can't believe it. But anyway, that movie, like, that was interesting. What does it fall over? Does it not? That creates intrigue, and now you're upset because you don't know and you want to know, right? Inception. Thank you. I had to say all that stuff to come up with Inception, right? It's not a hole, I guess, in a sense. They meant to do that. Well, I feel like there's holes in this movie, or maybe there's meant to be, and it didn't allow me to enjoy it enough. It needed for me to be a little bit more buttoned up. So, okay, there you go. Real quick before I'm going to do the spoiler thing, because I have one thing I want to say. If you haven't seen it and you don't want to hear, I'm not going to ruin the ending. I'm just going to share a little bit more about the movie. So if you want to check out, I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who stuck around with me, thanks. Awesome. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Just saying, in the beginning, she's visiting her mom. We know her entire situation, right? Our main character. And the mother has a brain tumor, right? And they're talking about operating on it. Get it. Got it. Great. So then they go fast forward all the way to the, you know, to present day, and, you know, things are changing throughout time and stuff like that. But at times where her mother is present in the present day, why does she not have the brain tumor? Right? Did something else cause a brain tumor? Did I miss something? That it's like, oh no, this one act in time created a brain tumor, and that didn't happen because of XYZ. I don't know. And maybe they did say what her brain tumor was caused about very early in the beginning, so if that's the case, you haven't seen the movie, watch for that. I didn't catch it, and so that kind of creates a hole for me, and that's my whole complaint about this movie. Alright, there you go. I wanted to share that with you because obviously I have nobody else to share. I have 3 empty seats here and a whole full couch there, so it's just you and I. So I appreciate you hanging out with me for however long I just rambled on, but thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.
Thank you.